Today we are making famous bread dish, Stromboli in some houses, but in my family we call this bread dish. Let's go ahead and get into this luscious. All right, so let's get right into it. I have seasoned my chicken breast, and the chicken breast was seasoned with the kinders garlic and herb with butter and sea salt. It's a few additional other seasonings in there as well, but I absolutely love using this in any of my dishes actually, but it's really good. So I seasoned it with that along with some Old Bay and some salt and black pepper, and I have a cast iron skillet. It's really hot, and I have that bacon grease in there. So I made some bacon earlier, and I'm going to be using bacon grease to cook my chicken breast in. And I've added my chicken breast, and I'm going to let that chicken breast get nice and golden brown on each side. And once I have a good sear on both sides, then I am going to go ahead and add in some water or chicken stock so that it can slow down the cooking process and allow for the chicken breast to fully cook. Do not worry about overcrowding the pan. It's not overcrowded. You're going to see that the chicken cooks perfectly, just like that. Okay, so that chicken breast has been seared on both sides. I added in some water, and I'm going to let that sit there and simmer and cook and get nice and tender, and it should be ready to go in maybe about 10 more minutes. And while that's going, I'm going to go ahead and prep everything else. I got my frozen peppers that I'm going to be adding in to this skillet. I'm going to pull out the chicken breast, put them to the side. Once they're ready to go, shred them up and cook my peppers. Okay, so I have added those frozen peppers and onions to that same cast iron skillet with the liquid that was already in there from the chicken breast. I removed the chicken breast, and I'm going to let these peppers and onions cook down and get translucent and get nice and tender and delicious. Alright, so the chicken breast is out. It is resting on the counter, and then after it's done resting, I will go ahead and shred up that chicken breast and place it aside. Alright, so the chicken breast has been shredded, and it has been placed inside of a storage container because I'm going to use half of this chicken breast for a white chicken chili on another episode. And yeah, it's going to be super delicious. But I have my chicken cut up and ready to go. And then my peppers, they are nice and translucent and full of flavor. So this is going to be perfect inside of that bread dish with all the other delicious ingredients. So we're using steakums, which is a shortcut, but they're full of flavor and delicious, as well as this frozen shrimp scampi. But you're going to see that this looks totally different once it is fully cooked. It's actually very good. Okay, so the shrimp are about halfway done. These are raw shrimp that has a shrimp scampi base with it. That's what that coating was on the shrimp. And now that it is starting to cook down, you're going to start to see the luscious and delicious plump shrimp that is going to be inside of this Stromboli / bread dish. Okay, so while that shrimp is finishing, I'm going to show you the bread we'll be using. This is Rhodes frozen white loaf bread. And I have placed it inside of a pan. I put a parchment paper on the bottom of it, and I foiled it and placed it in a 200-degree oven so that it could proof and rise and be ready to go. This is a shortcut method. Like, say if you bought the bread today, it's a shortcut method so that the bread can be risen and soft and ready to be utilized for whatever dish you are going to make. It is foolproof. It works every time. Alright, so now that the shrimp is fully cooked, it has been placed aside, and I'm cooking up the steakums Angus steak. And I only added a little bit of the kinder seasoning to this. It didn't really need anything else. And I am shredding up the steak now so that I can have it spread out throughout the whole entire dish. And you're going to see why it is more beneficial to shred it up once we start to assemble the bread dish. So the other ingredients that will be in this dish will be lots and lots of cheese. I didn't end up using all of these cheeses, but we wanted to pull them all out so we can know which ones we wanted in each dish, as well as the Bertolli olive oil and garlic spaghetti sauce and the Bertolli Alfredo. I utilized both because Alfredo by itself is just too rich, and the combination of the two is just extremely delicious. All right, so let's go ahead and start to make this bread dish. I have lined parchment paper on my counter because I just don't want to make a mess, and you'll see why in a minute. And it's gonna make cleanup much easier. So I'm gonna place some flour on this parchment paper, and the flour just helps the dough not to be so sticky, and it just makes it easier to fold it when I'm done stuffing it. So it's gonna have a nice floured surface ready for the bread, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab a loaf now. So now we're gonna go ahead and place that white loaf bread on the floured surface, and we're gonna coat that dough in the flour because it just makes it easier to assemble, and honestly it just creates a really fluffy and delicious texture. I don't know what my family who created the actual process, but I follow it to the T, and it works every single time. So the flour surface, the floured dough, it's ready to go, and I'm gonna go ahead and use a rolling pin, and I'm gonna flour my rolling pin so that the dough doesn't stick to it, and I'm gonna stretch it. So I'm not gonna make it a pizza shape, more like a long oval, like an oblong shape. And the reason why I'm doing that is because it's gonna just make it easier for adding the ingredients and then folding this over. So the way I'm gonna fold it is almost like a roll and pinching method, and I just need it to be this shape in order for that to work. I've braided it before, I've done other shapes and designs to it, but this is the one that's traditionally done in my family. So I'm gonna go ahead and stretch that out. And now that we have our dough stretched out, ready to go, we're going to add our toppings. We're going to start off with a sauce base, and that sauce base is going to be the pizza or spaghetti sauce. It just, I don't know, guys. I honestly don't know why the order is the way the order is. You could put it together however you want, but this is how my family does it. So we start off with the red sauce base. And we're going to go ahead and spread that all across the bottom of the dough. And it just makes it, oh my gosh, guys, you have no idea. It's just going to be super delicious. So my mouth is watering. Anyway, so we're going to spread on the red sauce. And after we have that red sauce spread, we are going to go ahead and add our peppers and onions as our next layer. And like I said, you want to get everything evenly spread, because how it's looking now, once you fold over this dish and you bake it in the oven and you slice it, you want to taste everything. So just like a regular pizza or a stromboli, you just want to make sure everything's evenly spread out. Now we're going to go ahead and take our shredded chicken breast and place that as the next layer. And like I said, we're only going to be using half of this chicken breast. We're going to be using the rest of this chicken for a white chicken chili. And I normally would have just made 2 chicken breasts. So it's up to you. If you're going to make 2 chicken strombolis for a chicken breast, it's perfect. But otherwise, in this dish, you're going to just need 2 chicken breasts per loaf. And I forgot to mention this turkey pepperoni by Boar's Head. It's a must in any pizza that we make. The girls absolutely love it. So I'm going to be adding in the turkey pepperoni as the next layer. And again, you can put as much or as little as you would like. It's just an added flavor. And we really don't have pork a lot in our home. So the girls have never really eaten traditional pepperoni. And the turkey pepperoni, to me, it tastes just as good. It still adds that nice, good, delicious peppery flavor, and it's a must in our pizza dishes. So now we're going to go ahead and do that Alfredo sauce as our next layer. And the Alfredo sauce, like I said, by itself, it is just way too rich. The pairing of the Alfredo with the red sauce, it is delicious. If you have never tried it, please do. Next layer, we're going to add the Kerrygold Irish grass-fed mild cheddar. Guys, I have never seen this before. Kerrygold's butter is divine. I'm quite sure their cheese is going to be. So I got that to add to this dish. We've never used it before, but we normally just use a cheddar. So that's the next layer. And I would say probably about half a cup, will suffice. And then we're going to do a store brand of the farmhouse style mozzarella. This is from our local grocery store, and it is a delicious fresh milk mozzarella. I absolutely love it. So that is our next layer. Now it is time for the fun part, guys. It's time for the assembly. So we are going to be pinching, rolling, pinching, and rolling. This is why I said it was important to flour the dough. Otherwise, if it's way too sticky, it is not going to actually attach. It needs to be the perfect consistency of sticky and floured. Like, it's crazy. But you're going to just pinch it and roll it. And then when you get to the ends, you just tuck it under. So this is what it should look like. Not a pretty braid, but guys, it is going to look so good when it comes out. So now we have our parchment paper lined baking dish, and we are going to do the dangerous job of lifting this dough and putting it on the pan. Nope, not so bad, not so bad. But both loaves should fit on this pan. That is the first dough. You may notice that that bread starts to open. It's fine. Just pinch it together. It'll be good to go. It is going to cook in the oven perfectly. You will see. All right, so we have our second dough ready to go, and we're going to do the same process over and over again, just with different toppings or different ingredients on the inside. Again, we start off with that red sauce base. That can be a pizza sauce. It can be a spaghetti sauce. It's up to you what flavor you want to use. So we have that lined, and we're going to do the peppers and onions again. So that's the second half of the peppers and onions, and we're going to line the bottom of that bread dough with those peppers. So hubby wanted to get fancy. He wants to use steak and shrimp inside of his Stromboli. And honestly, I've never made this for him before, and I'm sure he's going to love it. Actually, I wanted to try it so bad, guys, but I cannot eat steak. But anyway, so I topped it with the steak and shrimp. And honestly, it was supposed to be in layers, but, you know, I got kind of lazy with it and put them both in at the same time. But that pairing, that flavor, he said it was absolutely amazing. So we have the steak and we have the shrimp. Next, we're going to go ahead and add the turkey pepperoni. Guys, this bread dish, this Stromboli, is taking us to Flavor Town for sure, okay? You have steak, you have shrimp, you have pepperoni. I mean, this is going to be phenomenal. So we're going to go ahead and add that layer of pepperoni, and next it's time to go on to the cheese. So the first cheese we're going to be using is Emo's cheese. It is a shredded cheddar, Swiss, and provolone combination. So it's called Provel. It is a St. Louis style pizza cheese. Guys, please, if you've never had it, try it. It is so freaking milky and smoky and delicious. And so that is going to be our first layer of cheese for hubby's bread dish. Hubby wanted to try the Kerrygold mild cheddar as well, so I did make that his next layer of cheese. Even though there's cheddar in the Provel, he wanted extra cheddar flavor in his Stromboli. Next up is Velveeta shreds. This was the last of that cheese. I didn't want it to go to waste, and he said he liked the taste of Velveeta, so I put the rest of the Velveeta in there as well. This was just kind of a dump it all in Stromboli. And now we're going to do that Alfredo sauce. So top it off with the Alfredo. And now looking back at this, guys, do not top it with Alfredo sauce. You're going to see why as I'm pinching and folding. If that dough gets wet, it is hard for it to stay together. So try to make sure that your cheese is your last topping. Alfredo sauce should go under your shredded cheeses. But somehow I managed to still get it closed. So we're going to do that roll and pinch all the way down. And when we get to the bottom, we are going to tuck it under and do the same thing at the top as well. Roll, pinch, stuff, roll, pinch, right? So it is good. It is tight. Everything's inside. And now we're going to go ahead and put that on the lined parchment paper baking dish with the other bread dish and place it in the oven. Now we're going to place our bread dish inside of a 350-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes till this bread is nice and golden brown and the cheese on the inside is bubbly and delicious. Okay, so it's been about 20 to 25 minutes. We're going to take it out of the oven and we're going to top it with butter. Now, I went on ahead and shortcutted it and just took a stick of butter and spread it across the hot, crispy, delicious bread. You can get you a nice pan, put some butter in it, a little extra garlic, maybe some Parmesan or some parsley, whatever, and use a brush to brush it on there. Either way, look at that. Look at that. Crusty, buttery, delicious, and guys, I cannot wait for you to see me cut on the inside of this dish. So let's go ahead and cut into this Stromboli bread dish. So I'm going to be slicing it now. You can use a pizza cutter, but this spatula works just fine for me. And I'm going for that middle piece. That middle piece is my favorite. Hubby likes the ends. I love the middle. So let's go ahead and get us a nice piece out now. All right, so let's go ahead and pull that out and place it on our dish. Guys, look at that chicken, pepperoni, cheese, peppers. Oh my goodness. And that nice chewy bread on the inside, but that nice crunch on the outside, guys. You have to try this. You are going to absolutely love it. I have to taste this cheese and pepperoni. Oh my goodness. You guys, that first bite was everything. It was so flavorful and delicious. I cannot wait for you guys to give this one a try. You're going to absolutely love it. Thank you for watching today's video on Sade's Cooking Creations. We definitely appreciate your love and support. If you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thumbs up the video. Leave a comment down below and let me know if you're going to be trying this dish and how it turns out. Thank you for watching. Bye.